an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. Hello, welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. My name is Dan Rolinson. I'm joined this morning by Mat Kendrick and Ashley Preece. Matt, are you well?
I am, yeah. I'm seeing that Ash is going for the Pat Rowe look, isn't he? With his old, got the old specs on. Suits you, mate. Look intelligent.
That's why I've had them on. Yeah, I got told I need glasses last week, so these will be a regular fixture now for the Claret and Blue viewers. Here we go. There's another one.
I can't wear. I look like Howard from the old Halifax adverts. I wear them. So I can't wear them on screen.
Thankfully, I don't have glasses with me just yet. But yeah, Matt, you're well. Ash, you seem well as well. We're all in good spirits. The last episode we did of the Claret and Blue podcast, we said, right, we'll be back at some point when the next manager is appointed, because we're not going to just keep speculating. And the next manager has been appointed. Mr. Steven Gerrard is Aston Villa's new head coach. So just before we get into the comments, we'll come to you individually first of all and get your initial reaction. We'll start with you, Ash. It's kind of been in the pipeline for a couple of days, but how are you feeling about it now? It's all official and he's holding the shirt. Yeah,
very exciting. It's a box office announcement, isn't it? Really, box office is the millions worldwide are now talking about Aston Villa. This is what Christian Purslow wanted. He made him his number one man. And he got him over the line. Talks yesterday went well. And here he is, 3.5-year deal, we've been told. And yeah, it's a really exciting signing, box office, like I've mentioned. And yeah, he's got it all to do, though, for me. I'm sure we'll get to that. It's a big job, but really exciting addition. And he'll be keen to improve himself. He'll have a few critics, rightly so, given his time at Rangers. And he's still a bit of a rookie manager. We all know that. But he couldn't turn his job down. He really couldn't. Outside the top six, this is as good as it gets. And what a job he's got, and I think he's gonna love his time down there, and he'll be keen to prove himself right from the word go. Starting that Brighton game, week Saturday, win there. It's all about momentum for me. So yeah, really good, really exciting, and start of a new era, Dan.
Yeah, as much as you say, it's a box office announcement for who he is. It's Steven Gerrard, ex-footballer managing Aston Villa at a young age. I hope we are talking about him and the rest of the world is talking about him because he's a good manager as well, and not just because he's Steven Gerrard. But yeah, we'll judge him on that in the coming months. Matt, how do you feel about it?
I feel strangely excited, but part of me feels a bit guilty about being excited because I'm still in mourning for the previous manager. It's a bit like having a breakup, I think, where you get on the rebound quite quickly. But I just hope we're not checking Dean Smith's Facebook pictures over the next kind of couple of months to see him holding hands with somebody else. So I think the thing that really encourages me about Gerrard over and above anybody else, well, not anybody else, but the thing that encourages me about him over and above any other consideration is the fact that he thinks Aston Villa, he sees the potential in Aston Villa to progress his career. He wants to go to the very top, and there's a lot of talk about he's only going to use it as a stepping stone. I mean, somebody on social media made the very valid point yesterday that outside of Dean Smith, do we think any other manager would have turned down Liverpool if they come knocking, wanting to take him? I don't think they would. So, we want to be back at the top table. We want to be, on a par with Liverpool, fighting for titles and Champions League, glory nights at Villa Park and stuff like that. But in the meantime, I think we've got to recognise our place in the food chain. And the only way that Liverpool or anybody else, for that matter, will come and knock Villa's door to try and get Steven Gerrard is if he's doing a bang-on job for Aston Villa. That's what we all want to see. Let's use Steven Gerrard as a stepping stone as much as he's using us as a stepping stone. Take us into Europe, deliver the next stage of this project, and then we'll be in an exciting place. The only thing a manager can do is leave the club in a better place than where he's found us now. Dean Smith was able to deliver on that. If Steven Gerrard's able to do that, then we should be in an exciting place by the time his tenure comes to an end.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I think in all the speculation leading up to whether it could be Gerrard, since Smith has gone, I've often said, if it is a stepping stone to Liverpool and he leaves, then I don't know whether I'm on board with that. But kind of want to shift all that out of my mind now that he's confirmed he's the manager, so I'm behind him. And I don't really want to hear Liverpool mentioned again, to be honest, until we play them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think the whole world will be mentioning him.
Yeah, the rest of them will. But I mean, on this, I'm not just going to keep going, oh, we've had a good season, so is this the year he goes off to Liverpool? Like, if it happens, it happens. It's a bit like the Grealish thing. I don't want to hear about him until we play Man City. I don't want to hear anything to do with Liverpool until we play Liverpool. The Liverpool link's irrelevant.
You've said you don't know about Liverpool. You've just said Liverpool 15 times.
Yeah,
Why don't we have a swear jar? Why don't we say that every time somebody says the L word, that we have to put? I mean, we're skint, so let's just say 50p or 20p. We put 20p in the jar every time we mention the L word in context with Steven Gerrard. And not today,
after today,
after this podcast, every time we mention the L word, we put 20p because we're stingy in a swear jar, and at the end of the season, we donate it to Acorns. What do you reckon?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's not a great thing, is it? Because we were going to say that we're not going to mention it, so there's not going to be much in that swear jar, is there?
Oh, listen, we'll mention it. Don't you worry.
What does Gerrard bring to Villa then, Ash? You've done your research. You've been looking at what he's done at Rangers, the coaching staff, which is a big question in the comments at the moment. Do we know what's happening with? I always want to say Ian Beale. That's going to happen a lot. Michael Beale. Ian Beale wouldn't be a great fit. Michael Beale and the rest of his coaching staff. Are they going to come? What's happening to Austin McPhee? I'm all over the place. Austin McPhee, Neil Cutler. As of yet, we can only just assume that McPhee and Cutler are staying, and the rest of Rangers coaching staff will come as well. Because if you're going to go after Gerrard and you're paying compensation to get him, just get his team, give him what he wants, get your man, get your manager, and get the people around him. So you would assume they're coming. So with all that said, what does Gerrard bring to Liverpool going forward? Not Liverpool, Villa. Christ.
Oh,
20p ding.
Ka-ching!
Should make a little graphic every time it gets in. Top up the piggy in the bank. He brings the nastiness first and foremost. He brings the us against them mentality. He's going to shake the dressing room up like you wouldn't believe. I feel. I think Dean Smith, as much as we like Dean Smith, I think he was too nice at times. I think the players are going to feel the full force of the Gerrard factor. He's going to shake things up in there, and he's going to bring give Villa their bite back. I've said I think he's going to make them a nastier team to play against, and it'd be all out to win a game of football. When's the last time Villa won a game of football? Now it's been weeks, hasn't it, Man U away? So he needs to address that first and foremost, get back to winning ways. And I think he did at Rangers well was getting his players to buy into his beliefs. I mean, his players at Rangers. I went to Ibrox back in August already for the old firm, and just the shift the players are putting in for him, and they leave it all on the line. And I don't think we can say that about a few Villa players of late. As brutal as that sounds, I think they've left a bit out there. It's cost Dean Smith his job. He'll get the players buying into his beliefs. He'll shake a few heads and whatnot. And ruthlessness. I think he'll bring that like he did as a player. All out to win, winning mentality, and he'll want to get the players rocking down there like he did at Ibrox. So, it's all in this. But about momentum, galvanising the club again because we're struggling at 2 points above the drop zone, not looking good at all. And it's a big job for Gerrard. It really is. I can't understate that enough. But momentum's huge, as he's found with the Rangers job, winning that title, going on winning streaks, and he'll look to do that here. In terms of the coaching staff, I have been told that Beale is joining him. That's from Cardiff reporters on to me this morning saying Beale was linked with the Cardiff Post and going there. But no, I've been told Beale's joining, as will McAllister. I expect McAllister to join in as well, his backroom team. As for Cutler, McPhee and Danks, we haven't heard nothing about them yet, their roles at the club yet, but we'll soon see. I think Gerrard will speak to them in the coming days if he hasn't already, probably today, knowing he's at Bodymoor Heath. So, things to be addressed. I think we'll hear about the backroom team in the coming days. But it's all there. We've got a good time to bed in now, get used to his surroundings. And, see what's what. And excited. I think, like I've said, I think Gerrard missed the nasty, and hopefully he transcends on the pitch and really get some results done.
Just onto that before I come to you again, Matt. There's people in the comments now talking about Mings potentially losing the captaincy, selling loads of players and shaking it up. Is that something you could see, Ash, that he makes drastic changes like that? Not
on November 11th, Dan. There's two more months left to the window open, so he needs all the players he can get. But he'll be galvanising them now. We'll be checking them out in training. Obviously, Dean Smith had his favourites. We all know who they were. He had a leadership group as well, lots of Mings and McGinn and people like that. But he'll be checking everyone out. He'll be leaning on the senior players as well. And I think standards will automatically improve then straight away on the training pitch. If you see Gerrard's looking at you from the touchline, you're going to put it in, aren't you? Standards will be lifted straight away. I think standards dipped as soon as Terry walked out the door in the summer.
Yeah.
I think the players coasted a little bit, knowing how they performed last season, and then coming into this one, they got a rude awakening on the opening day. Didn't know Watford got smacked down there, and these last 5 games haven't been good enough. So yeah, heads will need to roll for me. I think he needs to give them a talking to big time, and galvanise them, get that momentum going, get everyone to believe in what you're doing, and here we go, as it says. Yeah, I think I'm excited, and yeah, that's Gerrard had to prove it.
There was a clip I saw from a podcast that he'd done with Jake Humphrey. I haven't seen it all, but it was a minute clip maybe talking about building a no excuse mentality. Yeah. That, you know, we can go there as the club and say, right, we can give you the training ground, we can give you nice kits, nice food, we can do all these things for you, but we're going to make this environment that you can't have any excuses. You can't come to us and say, this isn't quite right, this isn't quite right. We want you to go out there and give everything on the pitch. And just that as a simple mindset, it feels like an improvement somehow. Like, I know we've got to see it translated into Villa because, you know, the Scottish League is very different. As much as there is still pressure for Rangers being a big club, you still got to go up there and succeed, haven't you? You know, it's not as easy as just saying that they're guaranteed to win, because, you know, that hasn't been the case. So he has done a good job up there, but it's got to come and translate it down into the Premier League. Matt, what do you think about the points Ash has just made there about Villa being a bit of a soft touch previously?
I think you both nailed it really with these word standards, and that interview that you just referenced was really interesting, because you're right. Not only was he saying that we make everything just so for players that remove excuses, but an interesting thing that I found him saying on that podcast as well was that I'll wear all this pressure, I'll wear all this responsibility. You know, anything. I think I don't know what the phrase was. It was something like, I'll defend you or I'll protect you.
I'll protect you, I think he said, yeah. I'll protect you as much as I can.
And I think that's a big thing. And listen, I'm not saying that wouldn't have been the case with previous manager, but I think what Gerrard does bring, and this is properly stating the obvious, is he knows what it takes to be an absolute top world-class player, because he's done it and he's lived it and he's got the medals to show it. And we know that the one big ingredient that it takes to do that is talent. So, you know, that's a given. There's going to be players in that dressing room who haven't got who don't bless the talent. You know, probably most of them, all of them, who don't bless the talent that Steven Gerrard did as a footballer. But talent's only the start of it, and he knows. And interesting that Ash referenced John Terry, because I do see it very similar into the way, not necessarily when John Terry was part of the coaching staff, the impact that John Terry had when Steve Bruce brought him into the dressing room, probably even more closely the impact that John Terry had on Jack Grealish and how he turned him into a potential player, then instilled good habits into him, said, well, if you're going to maximise your ability, you've got to have these good habits, you've got to live life, you know, you've got to live life the right way. I hope that Gerrard can bring that into the Villa dressing room, because we know there's a talented bunch. We also know that they're not punching the weight at the moment. So I just think those things are the things that excite me about it. The thing that he knows what standards are expected to succeed in the Premier League, and he is also gambling his own reputation on a job that has proven to kind of ruin manager careers in the past. So he backs himself. So he's going to, you know, talked about the players leaving everything out there. Steven Gerrard's going to leave absolutely everything out there, because he's not going to want this to derail his career. He's going to want this to help his career kick on.
Yeah, would you say it's almost as big a risk for Gerrard personally for his managerial career as it is Villa taking him on as a manager? Because if this fails for him, he won't get in Liverpool.
He'll know that as well. He's on a 3.5-year deal. He knows he has to do it all now and start start quickly. He'll know that as well. Otherwise, the critics will be out straight away. What's his Premier League credentials? He's not really doing it, and then that Liverpool job's not there for him. So, yeah, he's up against it from the off. I think Gerrard knows that. He's a tough old job. The teams around Villa in the Premier League are all improving. Look at your Brightons and Palaces; everyone's improving. Villa have dipped, so it's a tough job. I can't stress this enough. He has to get off to a flyer. He's a couple of games coming up. We'll allow him to do that. And then he's got the big boys, Man Cities, and testing himself against the elite. So he'll relish it, though, Dan. He will relish this. And people are asking about his style of play. I
was going to ask you that next year.
He's a forward-thinking manager. He's got a good team behind him as well, very attacking, as he was as a player. His teams, how he performed as well. And Interesting from the statement as well from Purslow. I think just the second paragraph in, he said, "We've liked what Gerrard's done with the young players, and that is something we extremely value here at Villa." So, Jacob Ramsey, Carney Chukwuemeka, people like that, they're gonna improve, and you try and get the best out of them as well. So, yeah, it does bode well. Yeah, he's a forward-thinking manager. He gets on the front foot, and yeah, I think he'll go at it, hammer and tongue like he did as a player.
Just on the young players very quickly as well, Matt. What will they be thinking watching Steven Gerrard come in on the training pitch? Because I don't even mean the young players that are 17, 18 that probably won't even have seen him play, to be honest. I'm even talking about the 25, 26-year-olds that would have grown up watching Steven Gerrard in the Premier League, which is, that's the majority of our squad, really. They might look over and think, oh, that's Steven Gerrard. And with all due respect to Dean Smith, you don't have that same thing with him, do you? But then again, what does that really mean? He's still going to be a good manager, hasn't he? Just what he's done in the past as a player doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he's young enough to still be a very relevant footballing superstar in the eyes of many, isn't he? He's not been retired that long, so he's clearly going to have that aura about him. I can't pretend to know much about Steven Gerrard as a person, but the bits that we've been privy to from his media stuff so far is that I think he would still bring a kind of everyman quality to it as well. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he'll rule that training ground and rule that dressing room, if you like, by reputation of I'm Steven Gerrard, I've done this, I've won this. I think he'll rule it by just being very clear about the standards that are expected. I think he can do that with his personality rather than having to bring his medals into Bodymore Heath and leave them on the canteen table. So listen, I'd like to think that players who have got to the heady heights of Premier League football with Aston Villa, albeit many of them not played in the Premier League very often before, aren't going to be starstruck by the new manager. They're going to be motivated and inspired by him. So I think it's taken me a while to come to terms with this, to be honest. I say a while. Smith was only sacked 4 days ago. But I can see the benefits in it. And because it's a bright new era and we really want to embrace this and see Villa kick on, I think I'll leave my reservations to one side for now and say, right, this opportunity is here. It's a massive opportunity to manage Aston Villa. Imagine being able to manage Aston Villa kind of 3 or 4 years into your managerial career. That's a massive, massive thing that he's been given. So let's see what he's got. The pressure's on, but also, as Dean Smith has shown in dispatches over the last couple of years, you get this place going, and it can really, really be a really exciting, vibrant place to be. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going down there a week on Saturday with my lad and his mate and me nephew, and just having just feeling it, just feeling what New Villa feels like. So, like Ash says, though, that can soon be lost if don't get the momentum going, if we don't deliver from day one.
Are we? I mean, I feel like I was about to say, are we going into this with a bit of blind faith? That's all we can have, really. But there's a lot of comments coming in saying, I'm nervous about this. I'm concerned. I'm not sure he's the right man. Can we just kind of address that side of it as well? I think it's our youngest ever manager, unless I'm mistaken. Not had any Premier League experience. Only been a manager for 3 or 4 seasons, like you said, Matt. This is a gamble, isn't it? But if this is who Purslow and the owners want, as fans, we just kind of have to back that until if or when it goes wrong.
Yeah, you have to back the judgment. We got it spot on in 2018, hiring Dean Smith.
Yeah,
Henry was in the running there, but look with Dean Smith because what he did previously. So yeah, got to back the judgment. We've gone all out for the number one target, and they got him in quick fashion as well after sacking Smith just on Sunday. What we are now, Thursday today. It's all done. It's all in order, and they'll have the next 10 days or so to get ready for Brighton. So yeah, I mean, Gerrard's only 41, like you say, and a bit of a rookie managerial-wise, but he's been in the intense heat of having to compete with Celtic, and he stopped there 10 in a row, and it's a 2-horse race up there. And if you lose a few games up there, Dan, you're out the door. And Gerrard didn't lose too many. So I think Purslow has been impressed by that, what he's achieved up there. He's also been impressed by what he achieved in Europe as well, going at teams as well. And he's on a shoestring budget up there as well. So he's getting the best out of players within his squad at Rangers. And this is where it's led him. So he needs to get the best out of this bunch now, and he's got a good squad to do it, Dan. Let's not forget this is a good squad he's got there. He'll be back to the hilt in January as well. I think he'd have already had them conversations with Purslow. What's he getting in the January window regarding that? So we'll see. He's got it all to do, like Matt says, and he's got to get off to a flyer, really.
Sorry, I was just writing something down.
I don't know whether he's I think Brian Little was 41.
Oh, was it?
Same age, yeah.
Or close as well. So just a clarification.
That is fair enough. Bear with me. Right. Any questions? First press conference. Do we know when that is, by the way?
No news yet. No.
Cool. Next. Next question. I don't know what we were going to do. We've got another 5 minutes or so. So I was going to do a list of the 5 things that Gerrard needs to do first as manager. What his first tasks are. So can we think of 5 things between us? Matt, do you want to put you on the spot first and go with number 1?
I'll go with the obvious one, I suppose. Make sure we've got that midfield blend right. He's arguably one of the 2 or 3 best midfielders that the Premier League has seen. With midfield department is an issue that has rumbled on, and we think we've fixed it, and then we haven't rumbled on for probably a generation. So it's going to be really interesting. I think Ash has touched on it already in terms of what he could do for the likes of Jacob Ramsey and Chukwuemeka, but I also think what he can do for John McGinn is a real interesting challenge. If Gerrard does want to bring the kind of the fast pressing game to Villa and thinks that Villa can play, does that mean that John McGinn does play in a more advanced role and is the man trusted to lead that? So I'm fascinated with what he can do there. I think, if I'm being honest, it might be not even January, it might be next summer until he can really sort that department out. But I don't think that'll stop him having a good go at it in the meantime.
So that's number 1, sort the midfield out. And if anyone can spot that there's problems wrong with our midfield, it should be elite midfielder Steven Gerrard. To be honest, he could put his boots on, to be honest, and play midfield for us. He might do a better job. I'll come to you next, Ash. Number 2, what must Gerrard do next?
Win a game of football, Dan. Win a game of football.
Simple as that.
Results business. Dean's got the sack for not winning in 5. I think Gerrard will get more time than that, but the fixtures coming up, they're no gimmies. So he has to get off to a quick start, otherwise he can turn again. Brutal as that sound, I know Joe's been appointed today, but you're not winning games, you end up going. So get off to a flyer like Brighton and Palace are the first 2 coming up, get a result there, and then I think Gerrard will galvanise the momentum in the squad. They go at it over the festive period. I think they're going into them. But win a game of football, get off to a winning start, and then I think it'll all come. Then I think Villa will be rockets up that table, and then I think it all comes together for him.
Back to you, Matt. You got a third?
Yeah, I think it's probably kick-starting the new boys, really. Obviously, we've the Holy Trinity who are signed to replace the void left by Jack Grealish we've seen glimpses, but we've not seen anything consistently, whether that's because of injuries or where they've been played or whatever it is, lack of confidence in a team that's been in a rut. I think as part of this thing, he's going to have to solve I don't know if it needs to be solved for all time, but he's going to have to take a decision on the Ings-Watkins dilemma. To me, I think that means being not brave enough, but being a good enough kind of man manager to say, you guys are probably going to have to share this position as centre forward, and getting people to buy into the vision that even if they're not on the pitch, they're part of a squad that they need to reflect that. So that's the Ings conundrum, getting him firing. And similar with Bailey and Buendia, we've seen little exciting glimpses of them, but little exciting glimpses isn't enough. We don't need a kind of touring show that just arrives in town every couple of months. We need these players to be consistently good for the reasons that we've signed them. So listen, he's not just going to take 3 new players to one side and work on them. The job is to improve everybody in that dressing room. But I think these 3 obvious ones there, that if he gets them fit and firing, already Villa become a lot more dangerous as an attacking force.
Yeah, number 4, Ash.
Yeah, pick your captain. I think he'll have discussions with Mings and probably McGinn as well. Get your captain. Obviously, he's Mings at the moment, isn't he? But I think Gerrard want to choose his own captain. Whether that's Mings again, we'll see. But and getting the best out of them pair as well, like I've said, getting Mings back to his best as well, because he has been short as late, hence being dropped out of the team a couple of weeks ago now. So yeah, I think we want to get the best out of the senior players and get them attuned again, and get them firing again, including McGinn, who's had a bit of an up and down season as well. So yeah, getting the senior players firing and choosing your captain and leaning on him, and then getting the best out of the group. So yeah, picking your leaders really, and yeah, naming your captain for the season.
And number 5 for you, Matt. You've had to do 3 out of these 5, so a bit of pressure for you here.
All right, mate. It's about time I did some work. To me, it would be getting the club, getting what the club's all about, understanding the fan base. You know, making himself ban the L word as much as us. You know, we know he spent all of his career at a fantastic football club, and then his managerial career at another massive football club. He's lucky because he's at another massive football club here. But there's a big Dean Smith-shaped void in our lives now and in our hearts. And as well as Smith, you know, I know this is the Steven Gerrard podcast rather than the Dean Smith podcast, but as well as Smith taking us on this journey on the pitch in the last couple of years, he's also, and he's got a head start on Gerrard because he's claret and blue in his blood, but he's also had a real understanding of what an honour and what a privilege it is to do this job and to operate as an ambassador. The way he's represented the club beyond that football pitch has been brilliant, and I'd like to see Steven Gerrard really immerse himself in that as well. And for the time that he is Aston Villa manager, kind of wear that honour with pride, really.
I'll tell you what, that's a good answer, because I thought you might say something like, you know, stop conceding so many goals, because his Rangers record is half the amount of goals conceded over the course of a season. I thought you might say something like try and win a trophy, but yeah, some good answers there, so I'm happy with that. Well done to you both. I also want to just quickly plug our Steven Gerrard survey on the site. I'll put a link into the comments now that you can go over and do it. There is, I think, 5 questions that take you 30 seconds to fill it in, but I want to ask you both very quickly before we go. Leave Gerrard a good look message is the last question. So if you were sat across the boardroom from Dean Smith, I've read his name, from Steven Gerrard today, what would your message to him be ahead of the next game? I'll come to you first, Ash.
Pressure. Yeah, no regrets. Be you. Do what you do. Don't worry about anyone else in the background. Do what you do, and you'll soon see the Villa Park jumping and getting the right behind it. This momentum thing as well is massive, but just do you, mate, and the rest will follow. Short and sweet.
Matt?
Walk on with hope on you in your heart. No. It would just be. I think this sounds like a very kind of twee, quaint, sentimental load of old crap, which it probably is.
It probably is.
Brighton at 2 minutes to 3. 2 minutes to 3 against in his first game. Just take a moment, as much as the pressure's going to be, just take a moment just to have a little look. Have a look at the Old End, have a look at the North Stand, have a look at the Whitton Lane, have a look at the Trinity if you want. I'll give you a wave. Top tier, just to the North Stand penalty box. But just, it probably feeds back to what I was saying a minute ago. This club's in, you know, it doesn't need to be a stopgap. We know what people's, you know, we know he might have a grander ambition, but just getting this place going is going to, you know, I think it might blow his mind, to be honest. And I'm obviously claret and blue biased, but I think once he realises what this club's capable of, I think it'll come as a really, really pleasant big surprise. He's played at Villa Park before, so he's got a feel for what it's like. But just appreciate your surroundings and appreciate the privilege that you've been given.
Yeah, nice sentiments. I think that's probably a good time to end this podcast, because we've obviously got plenty of other bits and pieces of work to do on a very busy day. Loads of comments flying in, specifically on YouTube, and a lot of people with Scotland flag emojis in their badges. I'm not quite sure whether they're Rangers or Celtic, but there's a lot of bitter comments and a lot of arguments between fans in the comments as well, which is strange to see. People saying, hope we get relegated and stuff. So it's going to be entertaining, if nothing else, isn't it? Everyone loves to hate the Villa, as always. Matt, thank you very much for your time and rearranging a meeting to come and speak to us. That's very kind of you to do so.
You're more than welcome.
And Ash, thank you very much for your time, as always.
Cheers, mate. No worries.
We'll be back next week with some kind of preview for Brighton and a closer look at Gerrard again when his backroom staff is confirmed, all that kind of thing, and people will be asking us about. Well, people have asked about any Rangers players coming in January and stuff like that. So there's still loads and loads to talk about when we've got more time. So we'll be back next week for that. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and up the Villa.
Villa.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode. But until then, up the Villa.